Whew. Hey guys, just out taking a hike this morning. I wanted to check on the hunting blind. It's been a couple days since I was here. It snowed, it was a little stormy, and Gage hasn't seen it yet, so he was barking. He didn't know he didn't know what was going on up here. Let's go introduce Gage to the hunting blind and go for a little hike. That's mine, buddy. You're not sure what's going on, eh? All right. Come here. Come on. In. See? This is our fort. The kids will be jealous. There we go. Hey? So the feeders are all empty back there, but I didn't bring up any feed today. I did have to fix the trail camera down here. It was very odd. There are two lock nuts that hold the trail camera on an arm that swivels, okay? So you can spin it and adjust it. It's kind of like a tripod mount. So right here, guys, on the tripod mount, there's two little bolts. And this one here was loose. But that, I mean, that's a lock nut. How does that come loose, right? I had no idea. And this one was fine. This one was still tight. And I mean, they're very tight. It takes a lot of pressure to move this. So this is not, like, it's not blowing in the wind. This doesn't move. So I can't explain that, how that one came loose. I have no idea how one of those would come loose. Just one side. And it's a lock nut. I've never had a lock nut come loose on anything. You know, it's got a nylon washer in there that, you know, once you tighten it in, it can't come loose. And if it was the wind that had undid this, you would think there's two little bolts, one on each side. You would think they would both have come loose. Strange. So I brought a pocket full of wrenches. And I had to fix it. Yeah, like literally you can't turn that with your fingers. You have to use tools. So what the heck happened there? I'm not sure. We've got to keep our eyes open for a deer. Okay, so Tom's brother-in-law 3 days ago shot a deer with his bow, and it must not have been a very good shot because we tracked that thing for hours. I put in over 4 hours myself, you know, one drop at a time. Yeah. No, she can come here, there's lots of blood. What? She can come here, there's lots of blood. Well, 3 hours of searching, no deer, so I'm gonna pack it up for tonight, come back tomorrow. Big old snowshoe hair over there. What I'm looking for is white fur. The deer laying down, dead. You know, tail, underbelly, that's gonna be white. And that rabbit was sticking out like a sore thumb over there. I'm tracking this, then it was a little more as we went. We never did find the deer, and it's not my deer. It's not my responsibility, but I do feel I'm making it my responsibility because I don't like that, you know. As a hunter myself, I would never give up on something until I've got it or sure that it's gonna stay alive, you know, that it's not gonna die. So I can't speak to somebody else's ethics and whatever, but I know I'm gonna give it one more go today on our walk through the swamp. I'm gonna keep my eyes open for it because that's just not acceptable, you know? And it's not the first time that this guy shot a deer and then it's run forever and ever and ever. So, you know, that can happen when you're bow hunting. I understand that. And that's why I don't bow hunt anymore, because I want the quickest, most ethical shot. I want that deer down right there. One shot, one deer. That's my rule. My dad and everybody in my group knows that. If you hear me shoot once, you know, this year I shot at a running deer. That's not like me. I don't like to do that. And Very rarely in 30 years have I done that. Maybe 3 times. I like to ambush a deer, and I know that the deer is going to drop right there, and we're not tracking it. We're not, and with the bow, yeah, I understand. There's a lot more things going on with the bow. But anyway, we'll keep our eye open today. Everything's frozen. So today would be a day where I would love to see the ravens. I mean, if that deer is out here and it's dead in the swamp, this is the point in which ravens would start coming down and congregating on the carcass. Then I'll at least know where it was, where it went. Just walking along and wondering, thinking, about this deer and the blood trail that leads right up to wherever it is, whether it's alive or dead, I don't know. But then you think of all the predators that would be on that trail, the coyotes, the wolves, even the fox and the fisher and stuff will go investigate a corpse, right? All the birds, okay? So what about, it got me thinking about Bigfoot, and it got me thinking about that a lot of you guys think that Bigfoot is more than just an animal. Well, right there, again, is a huge argument against, because we get all these reports of Bigfoot hunting deer, snapping deer's necks, dragging off deer, stealing deer from hunters. Okay? And if that's the case, if this thing is a portal jumping, dimension hopping, spiritual, whatever, unexplainable entity, okay, not flesh and blood, it doesn't need to eat deer, okay, if that's the case. Otherwise, if that was the case, we would have things jumping through portals here, coming here to feed on humans, right? Okay, Bigfoot needs meat to survive, if this is the case, right? And he can portal jump. Why would Bigfoot not just portal jump in, snatch a human, because humans are going to put up the least amount of resistance out of any animal out there. We're slow. We don't camouflage. How are we going to get away? We're not going to fight back. We're not going to punch you in the eye, right? We would be food. We would be hunted. So to me, this is just where my mind goes when I think about these things. It's ridiculous for me to think of a Bigfoot being a portal jumping, dimension hopping entity that comes here and hunts deer. Okay? Because if it does that, then it would hunt anything that it could get its hands on, and we would be it. Hey, I think I just convinced myself that, again, Bigfoot is flesh and blood if it exists. And it's already here, and it just happens to grab animals of opportunity. The deer are running this trail. Hey, let's get them. Right? It's not portal jumping there and snatching the deer. Anyway, if you disagree, comment below. And on that note about weird, unexplainable things, that light I saw, when I was sitting up in the hunting blind the other night, guys, that to me was an orb. Okay? It wasn't a flashlight. It wasn't a person. If I had to say that something I saw in the forest was an orb, that would be it. It was like a round, shimmering light that was pulsating in and out. It faded in and out a couple times on camera, and I had a hard time getting the camera to find that light. So I watched it for 3 or 4 minutes total, and we only have a recording of maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so I was watching it weave in and out, moving through the trees, and it disappeared a couple times, and I thought, okay, it's gone. And then it would come back, and then it was very hard to find a tiny little light, 300 yards away from you with the camcorder at night, because the light, it doesn't pick up light in the dark. It's very hard, incredibly hard. I can't even explain to you guys how hard it was to find that light. So, and all I can say is that 100% it was not a person. I don't know what it was. That freaks me out. But if you want to talk about dimensional something, I mean, that to me, there's more a chance of that coming from somewhere that we can't explain than any flesh and blood creature, you know? I don't know. I don't know my dimension and portal jumping physics, you know? So I can't really say for sure. Where are you going? So we would have walked past the area where I heard those knocks earlier. I mean, we've come half a mile. So, I mean, we definitely, I don't think you're going to hear knocks that loud and clear, you know, any more than a couple hundred yards away. So, what is it? I don't know. It's not a woodpecker. That I do know. You know, this just speaks to the fact of how long I've been doing this, guys. When we've already talked about seeing an orb in the forest the other night, and here I am out here again looking for it, right? I mean, it freaks me out at the time, especially when it's dark. But even more so than that, I haven't even mentioned the fact that I heard a voice while walking these trails last week. Heard it with my own ear, then it was recorded on the camcorder. That should freak me out more than it does. And it's just getting to the point now where I've had so many of these things recorded, so many instances, also seeing lights which we haven't recorded, and the other neighbors saw lights as well one night. So I know it's not just me. I don't have a brain tumor, guys. There is something going on. And it just speaks to the fact that it's become so commonplace that strangeness is happening out here all the time on these trails and in these swamps that I didn't even think to mention about the voice again in this video, right? I mean, that should freak me out more than anything, and it does. When I heard it, I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure. I wasn't sure that I heard a voice. That's why I thought, okay, what was that noise? I thought it was a voice, but I wasn't 100% sure. When I got home on the computer, then I was really freaked out. I forget what it said, nobody or no one, something like that. Clearly was a voice saying something. And that got me to turn on the Hack Shack and do a session. And, you know, again, okay, here's something else. We have walked over half a mile here today on these trails. I have not had one shiver down the back of my neck. Nothing. Right? And that day when I heard that voice, then all of a sudden you start getting shivers. It's like the more I do this and the more I pay attention to the spiritual weirdness, the more attuned I am with it. And I honestly feel, guys, that I have some kind of neck radar. The hairs on the back of my neck instantly tell me when something's about to go down and when we're going to get messages or if I'm going to hear something. And it doesn't fail me, guys. The night the raven took off in the tree, the night we heard the strange howl, okay? You know, a minute before that I was walking the trail, no shivers, wasn't even thinking about it. I was like, oh, you know, here we go, a full body shiver. I could feel it. It's like I'm being watched. And then that huge raven took off out of the tree and scared the crap out of us. And then a minute after that, we got that howl and whatever else we captured. But I'm telling you, I have become attuned to strangeness out here. Just gonna sit down here for a second because I heard something in the distance back up the trail there. And Gage heard it too. He stopped. And I'm not sure what it was. You know, the next step is I want to capture video, okay? We know there's strange things going on here. The next step for me, the next level, would be to capture video of something walking on two legs, either like shadow figure-y, spirit-y, something. It doesn't have to be flesh and blood, right? I mean, like I say, I'm leaning way more towards paranormal for all the things that happen in these woods. And it would not surprise me to have something move by in the background of one of the videos. We're out here filming all the time. It's probably already happened and just nobody's ever noticed. I've never noticed. You guys have never noticed. You know, there's so many hundreds of videos we've done out here in the swamp that I can't envision all of these other weird paranormal things happening without something being visible, okay? I watch enough channels that are ghost hunting online that they, you know, they show things that you never catch until they go back. Did you see it? And half the time I'm like, no, I didn't see it. And then they show in the background a little shadow will walk by a window or something, right? I'm like, I never noticed that, right? But is that happening around here? I have no doubt I think it is, guys, because we're getting the audio. We're getting the disembodied voices, the EVPs, the lights in the forest, the orbs. I think there's probably other stuff going on. We have caught a couple things that you guys have pointed out, things moving in the background that I don't know, but not a definitive. I want to see a figure. I want to see, you know, if it is something on this land, just spirits from, you know, generations past or whatever. Obviously they can hear me talking right now. That's what I want. Manifest, you know, we want some cool video. I'll probably never come back to the swamp if I get that. If we actually see that, guys, no freaking way, I'm out of here. Oh yeah, it's one thing to hear spirits or have spirit box communication. It's another to see it. I don't know how well I would deal with that if I saw something manifesting. I think that would be it for me. My interest would end there. So maybe that's why they're not actually showing themselves. They're like, yeah, this guy can't handle it. What would you guys do? Honestly, if you were in my shoes and you're out here in the swamp in the middle of nowhere on these trails and you saw something like that, would you keep going out? I mean, I'm curious and I want answers, but I don't know if I want them that bad. So I can hear a woodpecker right over there. You guys probably can't even hear that on here. I will walk over here 30, 40 yards, wherever it is. I can't see it, I can hear it. And I will show, if we can get it on video, I will show you guys. There's a woodpecker working. I can hear it with my ear, but it's very faint. Okay, we are less than 10 yards from the woodpecker. "100%, guys. There's the woodpecker right there. Probably 7 yards from me. That is not what we are recording. Right? You can hardly hear that on the camcorder. Not to mention the fact that it's tap, 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 right? So to all of you guys that have sent me messages over the years saying, hey, it's woodpeckers. Not a chance! I don't get too upset with the guys sending me those messages because they obviously don't have a clue what nature sounds like or the recording levels needed, you know, to present. Like these knocks are loud, guys. When we hear them, there is no doubt it is a huge, you know, stick, not a small stick. Sometimes when I've tried to reproduce these sounds, and you guys have seen me break sticks by hitting a tree or whatever, it's the wimpiest sounding thing ever, and the camcorder's, you know, 6 feet away from where I'm working, right? So these sounds that we're getting echo across the whole swamp, like it's a loud knock, like knock, knock, bang, bang. So I'm just trying to show through the actual recording and letting you guys hear, that's not very loud. You know, and we get 30 yards away from this guy, you hardly hear it at all. It's right on the edge of hearing. I'll give it 1 minute. Gage just jumped up and he's looking back. Can Gage see you? Can you manifest up there on the rock? Why don't you give us a message? Thank you. Why don't you manifest up there on that rock for us? Can you do that? Just run by. Run across the top of that rock. I don't want to hear excuses. I just want you to do it. Oh, full shiver. All right. I didn't think you could. We're out of here. Come on, Gage. Thanks for trying, though. Okay, so there again, 3 quick responses from the Hack Shack. I think, moving forward doing that stuff, I don't like doing it because you guys don't see all of the footage that I have to cut out and sit and listen to. An extra 40 minutes per video and not much going on quite often. I end up cutting it out. So I think what I'm going to do, if this is real and they know, I'm going to give them very small opportunities to say what they've got to say, and that's it, 3 to 5 minutes. If they're not responding, I'm going to shut it off and leave. I'm not going to sit there and wait. And that way, I mean, if there's anything to this, if you have a message, say the message. And the same thing with necrophonic. I'm going to just really shorten, when I ask a question, you're going to get one barrage of answers because they like to shoot out 10 answers at once, talk over each other, blah, 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 and then there's a break in between. And then in those breaks afterwards, that's when they start talking about other things that don't have anything to do with the questions that I've asked quite often. Because usually they will answer the questions right away, bang, on the spot with necrophonic. I ask them a specific question and they give me, within the first couple of words, they've answered the question. So to let them go on any longer, it's just painful for me to try to sit there for hours and decipher. So that's going to be my new rule. It's going to be little short spurts for this type stuff. And hey, if they have a message to give, then they're going to have to give it.